Agnes T. Cervantes, BSN 1A student of Colegio de Santa Lourdes of Leyte Foundation Incorporated, and I am here to discuss to you about the eukaryotic cell. So this is an illustration of eukaryotic cell. So eukaryotic cells are defined as cells containing organisms, nucleus, and organelles which are enveloped by membrane-bound organelles. Examples of eukaryotic cells are plants, animals, protists, and fungi. So their genetic material is organized in chromosomes. Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, ribosomes, and nucleus are just some parts of a eukaryotic cell. So today, we will discuss more about the eukaryotic cell. So, the first organelle that we will discuss inside the eukaryotic cell is the cytoplasmic membrane, also called plasma membrane or cell membrane. So, this dominant yellow color in my illustration is the cytoplasmic membrane or cell membrane. So we can imagine a cell membrane as an egg. An eukaryotic cell is an example of an egg. So the the yellow is the nucleus. It has a membrane. That's why the egg yolk don't spread out because of the cell membrane. So back to the topic. So the first organelle is the cell membrane. It is a semi-permeable membrane that separates what's the inside and the outside of the cell. In eukaryotic cells, plasma membrane consists of proteins, carbohydrates, and two layers of phospholipids bilayer. These phospholipids bilayer are arranged as follows. The first is the polar or hydrophilic, water-loving heads facing outward and inside of the cell. The head interacts with the aqueous environment. The second one is the non-polar or hydrophobic, meaning water-repelling. It is the tails, which are sandwiched between the heads. So we can imagine it as the phospholipids bilayer is like a matchstick. I have here two matchsticks. So we imagine that this head is the water-loving or hydrophilic, and this tail is the hydrophobic. So the tails are facing at each other, and the heads are facing away from each other. So the tails are protected by the heads, which are hydrophilic, and the tails are hydrophobic. So since cytoplasmic membrane is a semi-permeable membrane, it only allows selected substances to pass through it. Another is it protects itself from shock, injuries. It is also cell membrane is also important for secretion, cell growth, and division. So the next organelle is the cell wall. In my illustration, the cell wall is this. This is the cell wall. So the cell wall is a non-living rigid structure outside the plasma membrane. It is It is absent in eukaryotic cells of animals. So it is made up of different components: cellulose, cellulose, hemicellulose, proteins and pectins in plants, and cellulose, galactans, mannans, and calcium carbonate in fungi. So cell wall is divided into three layers: the middle lamella. The middle lamella is the outermost layer made up of calcium pectates, and the second layer is the primary. It is the middle layer, and it is made up of cellulose and hemicellulose. It is present in young growing cells. So the third one, the last one, is the secondary wall. It is the innermost, and its component is similar to the primary wall. So the function of cell wall is to provide shape to the cell. It also helps in cell-to-cell interaction. And yeah. So next is the rough ER. Rough ER is a network of small tubular structure, can be of two types: smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. So it is called smooth endoplasmic reticulum because of due to the lack of ribosomes. So, and it is the main site of lipid synthesis. Rough ER, it is called rough endoplasmic reticulum because of the presence of ribosomes. So rough ER is the site of protein synthesis. So rough ER helps in folding proteins to transfer it to the Golgi apparatus through the vesicles. So Golgi apparatus, here, I forgot to show you the illustration of rough ER and soft ER. So this is the rough ER, rough because it has the presence of ribosomes, and soft endoplasmic reticulum because there is no presence of ribosomes. So the next is the Golgi apparatus. This is the Golgi apparatus. So the Golgi apparatus is made of disc-shaped structure called cisternae. It is arranged in parallel and concentrically near the nucleus. Cis phase, forming phase, faces the plasma membrane and receives structures, secreted materials in vesicle. The trans phase or maturing phase faces the nucleus and into the cell. So, the Golgi apparatus is an important site for packaging material within the cell. So, proteins are modified in the Golgi apparatus. So, next is the ribosomes. This is the ribosomes. The small dot here. You can see small dots in here. So, that is the ribosomes. Ribosomes are not bound by a membrane, also called protein factories. So ribosomes are made of ribonucleic acids and proteins. Ribosomes are the major sites for synthesis of proteins and polypeptides. So another is the mitochondria. Mitochondria is the membrane-bound organelle, also known as the powerhouse of the cell. So this is the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, because it produces ATP for the cell. It also helps in regulating cell metabolism. Another is the lysosome. It is a membrane-bound vesicle formed in the Golgi apparatus. So this is the lysosomes. This, and this is the lysosome. Lysosomes are called suicidal bags since they are rich in hydrolytic enzymes, which are optimally active at acidic pH of less than 7. So, lysosomes are suicidal bugs because it has hydrolytic enzymes, which is acidic of less than 7. So the main function is to digest lipids, proteins, carbohydrates, and nucleic acids. So another part is the nucleus. The nucleus is this violet circle. Yeah. Nucleus is the main organelle of a cell. It is a double membrane structure with all the genetic information. It is called the brain of the cell. So, the nucleus is called the brain of the cell. It has the following parts. First is the nuclear envelope. Nuclear envelope is a double membrane structure that surrounds the nucleus. So, double membrane that surrounds the nucleus. It is outside of the nucleus. So, the outer membrane is continued, with the endoplasmic reticulum. So the nucleus and the endoplasmic reticulum is connected because the ribosomes, which contains the DNA and proteins, are from the nucleus. So, the inner membrane has small pores called nuclear pores. So, the inner membrane of this nuclear envelope has pores called nuclear pores. So, nucleoplasm, the fluid within this nucleus. So, it contains the nucleolus and the chromatin. It is inside this nucleus. So next is the nucleolus. Nucleolus are not membrane bound and an active site for ribosomal RNA synthesis. So the nucleolus. So this is the nucleolus. This is the nucleolus. So next is the chromatin. So chromatin consists of the DNA and protein called histones. So chromatin is inside this nucleus. So DNA is organized into chromosomes. It stores genetic information necessary for development and reproduction. So, it contains all information necessary for protein synthesis and cellular function. So, next is the site. We have finished discussing about this. Okay, the outer membrane is the nuclear envelope, which has the nuclear pores. So, the fluid inside is the nucleoplasm, which contains the material for nucleus and chromatin. The the inner of this nucleus is the nucleoli, which are the active sites for ribosomal RNA synthesis. And lastly is the chromatin, consists of DNA called histones. So yeah. So the next organelle is the cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton is a filamentous network present in the cytoplasm. So this is the cytoskeleton. Yeah. It provides mechanical support, maintains shape of the cell, and help in motility. So lastly is the cilia and the flagella. So cilia, it is not here in my illustration, but mostly, all eukaryotic cells have cilia and flagella. So cilia are those short hair-like outside that is attached to the cell wall. And the flagella are the long structures. It is usually called the tail of the cell. So yeah, that ends my discussion about the eukaryotic cell. Hope you did learn something from my discussion. Thank you.